The United States stands apart from every other developed nation in its relationship with firearms. From the colonial frontier to modern urban centers, guns have occupied a distinctive place in American history, politics, and culture. No other wealthy country possesses such a vast civilian arsenal. Estimates exceed 400 million firearms in private hands, a number higher than the entire U.S. population. That unmatched prevalence shapes many phenomena, including accidental shootings. When researchers aggregate unintentional firearm deaths and injuries, the United States occupies the top tier by absolute count, and among peer nations, by per capita rates as well. Why does the country with unparalleled medical technology, safety standards, and educational resources suffer more gun accidents than virtually any of its economic peers? Exploring that question requires a deep dive into gun culture, legal frameworks, industry practices, training gaps, media narratives, and everyday human behaviors. Just as important is outlining comprehensive measures, spanning engineering, education, and policy, that could sharply reduce accidental shootings without erasing lawful ownership or heritage. The first driver of high accident numbers is sheer exposure. Statistically, the more frequently people handle potentially dangerous tools, the greater the probability of mishaps. A nation that houses roughly 120 firearms per 100 residents creates millions of daily moments when a finger, a trigger, and a lapse in attention can converge. Households with multiple weapons, especially those lacking secure storage, transform ordinary chores, cleaning, moving boxes, hosting guests, into risk windows. In contrast, countries such as the United Kingdom or Japan have far fewer firearms in circulation, making accidental discharge events mathematically rarer before behavioral factors even enter the equation. A second element involves storage practices. Surveys conducted by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and academic partners consistently reveal that a large share of U.S. gun owners keep at least one firearm loaded and unlocked inside the home. Motivations vary: quick access against intruders, rural pest control, habit inherited from parents, or simple convenience. Unfortunately, unlocked and loaded guns are primary contributors to accidental shootings, particularly among children and teens exploring bedrooms or garages. In incidents that make national headlines, toddlers pull triggers after finding pistols in nightstands. Adolescents unintentionally shoot friends while playing with an unsecured rifle. Adults mishandle firearms they thought were unloaded. Secure storage, a locked container, a cable lock, or a gun safe, can interrupt the chain of events that leads to tragedy, yet enforcement of safe storage norms remains patchy and voluntary in many states. Third, American cultural narratives often celebrate firearms as symbols of independence and self-reliance, sometimes overshadowing the sober, technical view of a gun as a machine requiring disciplined handling, much like a car or a chainsaw. Television shows, movies, and social media feeds frequently depict casual pointing, dramatic trigger pulls, and heroic last-second reveals, reinforcing the notion that guns are extensions of identity rather than tools demanding rigorous safety routines. Compounding the effect, digital platforms amplify sensational videos and spur challenges that encourage risky behavior. Young people may replicate what they see without formal instruction, elevating the odds of accidental discharge. Fourth, training requirements differ widely across states. Some jurisdictions mandate classroom instruction, live fire practice, and background checks for permits. Others impose no training requirement at all, adhering to constitutional carry principles. The result is a national patchwork where millions of owners receive comprehensive instruction, while millions more rely on self-teaching or advice from a relative. Studies show that gun owners who complete formal courses, covering safe loading, unloading, clearing malfunctions, and storing firearms, report fewer negligent discharges. Where training is optional, accident rates remain appreciably higher. Fifth, the U.S. gun industry enjoys statutory protections that limit consumer product regulation. The same federal agencies that oversee lawnmower blade guards or ladder-rung spacing possess only narrow authority to mandate firearm safety features. Although most manufacturers voluntarily incorporate drop safety mechanisms, loaded chamber indicators, and trigger shields, these protections vary across models and price tiers. Smart gun technology, which could require biometric or RFID authentication before firing, faces political and market resistance, leaving potential life-saving engineering underdeveloped. In other consumer realms, seatbelts, airbags, and anti-lock brakes dramatically reduced unintended harm. Firearm technology has not followed an equivalent regulated path. Sixth, data collection on gun accidents is fragmented. While the CDC's National Violent Death Reporting System and National Electronic Injury Surveillance System provide valuable snapshots, they depend on voluntary or incomplete reporting from local agencies and hospitals. Additionally, federal funding restrictions on firearms research imposed during the 1990s limited comprehensive studies for decades. Without granular, harmonized data, pinpointing the most effective interventions becomes harder. Good policy thrives on precise diagnostics. Inadequate data hampers targeted prevention. Seventh, socioeconomic factors contribute indirectly. In communities grappling with poverty, substandard housing, and limited access to gun safes or training ranges, accidental shootings occur at higher rates. Multi-generational households may store weapons where children play, parents juggle multiple jobs, and supervision wanes. Economic strain can also foster makeshift repairs or modifications that compromise mechanical safety. Addressing accidental firearm injuries therefore intersects with broader public health and equity initiatives. Finally, American federalism complicates uniform solutions. Firearms legislation remains largely state-driven, reflecting local values. Regions with strong hunting traditions or frontier histories often resist perceived over-regulation. National consensus on best practices thus evolves slowly, leaving safety gaps across jurisdictions. Having examined the main reasons behind high accidental shooting rates, we now consider strategies to prevent them. The solutions span technological, educational, legal, and cultural dimensions, each reinforcing the others when applied coherently. One powerful preventive measure is universal safe storage adoption. Empirical studies show that locking firearms unloaded in secure containers or using cable locks slashes the risk of unintentional shootings by children by up to 85%. Policymakers can promote safe storage through a combination of incentives, tax credits for gun-safe purchases, insurance discounts for certified storage, and free lock distribution at police stations. Some states require locked storage when minors are present, with criminal penalties for violations resulting in injury. Public awareness campaigns, modeled on drunk driving prevention ads, can reshape norms so that leaving a loaded gun on a nightstand becomes as socially unacceptable as strapping a toddler into a car without a car seat. Training reforms represent a second pillar. Evidence supports mandatory basic safety courses before first-time purchase, akin to driver's license requirements. Curriculum should cover the 4 fundamental rules. Always treat a gun as loaded, never point at anything you're not willing to destroy, keep your finger off the trigger until on target, and know the target and what's beyond it. As well as safe storage, cleaning protocols, and recognizing firearm malfunctions, subsidized range sessions and community classes can address cost barriers and reach underserved groups. Digital modules, augmented reality simulations, and partnerships with veteran instructors could modernize delivery and increase participation. A third avenue involves engineering innovations. Smart gun prototypes using fingerprints, grip pattern recognition, or electronic tokens offer promise in preventing unauthorized use, especially by children, without impeding legitimate defense. Scaling such technology requires research investment, pilot programs, and liability protections for early adopters. Meanwhile, traditional mechanical upgrades, stronger drop safeties, magazine disconnects, loaded chamber indicators should be standardized across consumer models. Congress could authorize the Consumer Product Safety Commission or a specialized agency to set minimum safety standards, mirroring automotive precedents. Fourth, strengthening data infrastructure is crucial. Congress restored some funding for firearm injury research, but agencies need ongoing appropriations to build comprehensive surveillance networks linking hospital, law enforcement, and community reports. Real-time dashboards would enable policymakers, NGOs, and manufacturers to spot emerging trends, such as defect patterns or regional spikes in child accidents, and intervene swiftly. Fifth, public health framing can complement cultural respect for gun ownership. Safety messages that echo hunter education ethos, responsibility, stewardship, protecting loved ones, resonate better than punitive rhetoric. Collaborations with shooting sports associations, firearm instructors, and respected figures in the gun community can amplify best practices. Just as seatbelt adoption rose when automakers joined safety campaigns, firearm safety norms can shift when manufacturers, retailers, and influencers champion secure storage and training. Sixth, addressing underlying socioeconomic disparities indirectly curtails accidental shootings. Expanding childcare access, after-school programs, and neighborhood recreation reduces unsupervised time when kids might discover unsecured firearms. Economic grants for safe storage equipment in low-income areas eliminate cost obstacles. Strengthening rental property codes to require lockable storage compartments for firearms parallels smoke detector mandates in apartments. Seventh, technological aids such as mobile app reminders can reinforce safe behavior. Apps could prompt users to verify that firearms are unloaded before cleaning, log ammunition inventories, or alert owners if a Bluetooth-equipped safe remains open too long. Gamifying responsible habits, awarding digital badges for monthly safety checks, might engage younger owners accustomed to fitness and budgeting apps. Eighth, expanding the role of pediatricians and family physicians offers a subtle but powerful lever. Medical societies encourage clinicians to ask parents about firearm storage during, child visits, framing the conversation like car seat or pool fence discussions. When parents receive non-judgmental guidance from trusted professionals, studies show improved compliance with locking practices. Ninth, insurance mechanisms can align financial incentives with safety. Just as auto insurers reward good driving records, firearm liability policies could offer lower premiums to owners who complete certified training courses, install safes, or adopt smart gun technology. Conversely, higher premiums for risky storage could nudge behavior towards safer norms. Finally, fostering a culture of continuous improvement matters. Accidental shootings, unlike many complex social problems, stem from specific identifiable behaviors. Muzzle discipline, trigger awareness, correct holster use, and diligent storage. Continuous reinforcement, through range safety briefings, media spotlights on positive role models, and widely shared success metrics, reminds owners that safety is an ongoing discipline, not a box checked once. In conclusion, the United States experiences more gun accidents than its peer nations principally because it has far more guns in circulation, widely varying storage practices, uneven training requirements, and industry regulations that lag behind other consumer product domains. Cultural narratives celebrating firearms sometimes overshadow rigorous safety habits, and socioeconomic factors create additional vulnerabilities. Yet none of these realities doom Americans to perpetual headlines about unintentional shootings. Evidence-based interventions, from universal safe storage and standardized training to engineering advances and robust data systems, can dramatically cut accident rates. Importantly, these measures need not undermine constitutional rights. They simply extend the same public health mindset that has reduced fatalities from cars, power tools, and household poisons. Reducing gun accidents is achievable if stakeholders across ideological lines commit to the shared goal of safeguarding lives, especially those of children, while preserving lawful ownership. By marrying individual responsibility with smart policy and modern technology, the nation can honor its firearm heritage without accepting preventable tragedy as collateral damage. The path forward demands patience, empathy, and data-driven action, but the payoff, families kept whole and communities spared sorrow, is well worth the effort.